What's going on, guys? So in this video, I want to talk about what is probably the best poker site in the world for having just ridiculously bad players. And let's face it, most of us aren't trying to find the hardest competition that we can find. We don't want to play the bingo on PokerStars. And so a lot of us have been trying to find these new poker sites. And so you've probably heard about this already if you're in the poker community at all. But these Asian poker sites, they're app-based, and they are incredibly juicy. Now, there's some pros and there's some cons to these sites. And the pros are really good, and the cons are actually quite bad, or have the potential to be quite bad. So I want to try and give you the full picture. And so I'm going to do a little walkthrough of the site itself, and I'm going to go over some of the pros and some of the cons, and how you can get started on some of these Asian poker apps. So you can see here I'm playing on a site called PPPoker, and I just opened up a one game here, and it's just a hold'em game. It's not actually 510. These are actually Philippine dollars, and they convert not at 1-to-1, obviously. So it's actually much smaller than a 510 game. One of the first things that you can notice is that it's 510. I have 2,000 chips, and I just started. You can actually buy in deep. You can buy in 500 big blinds deep on this particular club. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to talk first of all about sort of what clubs are, what the app is, and how those work together. And then I can show you one of the better clubs and some of the juicy games that are running at all stakes. And even at some of the higher stakes as well. There's no super high stakes here, but they do have games that sometimes play as big as sort of a 5-10 US dollar or euro stake. So the first thing is, this is an app. I'm actually playing it on my PC. I also have it on my phone, and you can go across. So you can play the same account on either device. You'll note here where the mouse is. I've got one table of no limit hold'em up. You can play 3 tables at a time. And so you can click out and get another table open, and I'll show you that in a minute. Now, the first thing I want to do is discuss the clubs. So if you download this app, what you're going to have is basically the free money version. So you'll get some gold, and you'll go play free money tables. It's like Zynga Poker or whatever. And if you actually want to play real money against players, you need to join clubs. And this is done in such a way that the app itself is actually fully legit, and all the money actually goes through a third party, and so the site itself is able to get through basically these tight restrictions that they have on their end via this secondary approach. And so what you do is you join a club, and you have an agent, and the agent sends you the money to play on the club, and then when you want to cash out, you use the same agent. And there's good clubs, there's bad clubs, there's popular clubs, there aren't. This particular one has a lot of games running. I'll show you them afterwards. There's 500 people online right now, I think, and there's good games. PLO, 4-card, 5-card PLO, no limit hold'em. There's a bit high-low. I don't play the tournaments or anything. I don't really know what the selection is there. They do have sit and goes. I think I played a couple of them. So there's pretty good game selection. But honestly, the most important thing here is how juicy the games are. Now, I want to get back to the agents, because this is actually the real con of playing on these Asian poker apps. There's a trust factor. Because you're not giving your money to the site itself. And so now you're actually giving it to a third party, and there's no recourse, right? So if that third party just disappears, there's really nothing you can do about it. And so you need a trustworthy agent, and that can be really hard to find. So I have one that I've been working with for a while. Honestly, I trust them, but at some point, I assume that my money will probably disappear in some way. It's just a little bit sketchy. And so the way that you handle that is to just not have more on than you can afford to lose. And just keep cashing out consistently. Like, I've already cashed out more than I bought in for. So if my money goes missing or I can't get through the agent, they stop paying me, it's not the end of the world. And, I wouldn't be happy. But I've been using it for a while. And so, I can even pass you along that. If you hit me up in the comments, I can refer you to the agent that I use. I'm not going to vouch for them. Other than the fact that I've had success using them. That's all I can really say. I don't know if you use them and then they disappear in a year, don't come back to me. I mean, it can happen. These types of things happen, right? People mess up their finances, they go broke, they keep all the money in Bitcoin or something, and all of a sudden Bitcoin goes down and they can't pay you out in US dollars. These things happen. So anyway, that's enough on that. There's a little bit of sketch with the payments. Payments themselves are pretty easy. I do use Bitcoin to transact my buy-ins and my withdrawals are with Bitcoin. I do get rake back, and that's nice, and that pays me out in US dollars actually, although I do take them in Bitcoin as well, but that's optional. I don't think PayPal's an option. I think you can use Skrill and NetTeller and Bitcoin. So now I want to talk about the games. So once you get into a club, there's multiple clubs and you can have accounts on each one. You'll need a different pool of money for each one. So you'll have to buy in for each club separately. The money doesn't move across the site. But your agent can help you with that, right? If your agent signs you into 2 clubs, they can actually transact you around that. Each club's going to have some interesting rules. And this is another one of the negatives. But, in this particular club, once you cash out your original amount, all future cash outs, they actually charge you 5% on. And so that sucks. But the fact of the matter is, these games are so good that it doesn't even matter. I mean, and that's only on your profits. And if that's what it takes to keep these games running, they're so good. So I'm going to show you a little example of that. This is just a random 9-handed no limit hold'em game, low stakes. I mean, you get one stat for free. You can actually pay, I think, $30 a month, and they'll give you sort of a little HUD that you can use. It's got 6 or 8 stats on it. I don't have that. But so if I just start ranking these guys, right? So there's a guy playing 39% of hands in a hold'em game. That guy's playing 47% of hands. This guy's playing 28. That's fine. 24, that's fine. 40%. So you can already see, this is just the first table I clicked on too, right? And we've got a decent selection of people playing way too many hands. And so that's a random game. And now I want to show you, some of the bigger stakes as well. So you can filter out the games that you're playing. So I'm only looking at sort of a little bit on the higher end. If you go lower, the games are going to be amazing. I mean, you're not going to have a problem. But I'm just going to show you some of the higher stakes, no limit hold'em and PLO games. And you can do the conversion for Philippine dollars to whatever currency you're in. But to me, I call the 25.50 with a $5,000 or 5,000 chip buy-in. I consider that to be a 50 cent a dollar game, that you'd normally be used to, right? So, look, this is one table here. Okay, this guy's 40% hands. This is a hold'em game, right? This guy's playing 71% of hands. He's played 8,500 hands. So, that's a huge fish, right? And he's got $150 on the table. This guy's got position on him. He's playing kind of normal amount. This guy's 30. Table's not that good. But this is a huge spot, right? Imagine if you saw a spot like this on Party Poker or Poker Stars. There'd be 70 guys in the wait list. Come on. And what I play myself when I play here, I play the PLO games. The PLO 5 actually runs a bit more than the PLO 4. But, they're all good games. So you can tell I play because I've already got them all labeled. And my labeling system is basically the higher your VPIP, the more yellow your color is. So this is the same guy actually that's playing that no limit hold'em game. He's playing 74%. He's only played 1,000 PLO hands. So he's actually, if you remember, he had 8,500 hands on no limit. So clearly he plays more no limit than he does Omaha. My guess is he's a no limit player and he probably doesn't know what he's doing. And you would like to play this game. This guy's got 20k chips, right? So that's $400, 400 big blinds deep, playing 60% of hands. This guy's playing 50% of hands. This guy's around 50, 59% of hands. It's way too many, man. 52%, 60%. I mean, these games are just incredible. And so, yeah, if you have to give 5% rake back away, whatever. Anyway, I've been kind of talking a lot in this video, and I'm going to get off this table. And I'm going to leave it there. Hit me up in the comments if you're interested in joining. I can put you in touch with my agent. They're super responsive, basically 24 hours a day, even though they're in a different time zone than I am. They've always gotten through really quickly. And definitely, like I said, I'm not really going to vouch for them, but I've had good success using them. And I expect, unless something really blows up on their end, that they're going to keep doing it because they're actually running a business. And so it's in their best interest to keep people happy.